What's going on, everybody? LK here, and we're back at it again with another video. I do want to talk about CEO in the next couple of days since it was such a big and important tournament for the game. But before that, I wanted to start a series that I've been thinking about doing for a while, and this will be about team building in Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is a 3 vs 3 game, as we obviously know, but I feel like the devs have something along the lines of they don't want any dominant teams to exist. And let me go a bit more into that before I actually talk about like the first part of this. So in this game, we see like the same top tier characters played a lot, but never in the same combinations. The game's been out for like a year and a half-ish at this point, and if it was like a Marvel game or something like that, then by now, we would have at least like 3 or 4 locked-in teams. You're talking about Marvel 2, you have like your Magneto Storm Sentinel, Magneto Storm Psylocke. There's Team Scrub, there's Santhrax. I know the names of the teams. I don't know what characters are on the teams. That's how well recognized they are from the FGC standpoint, right? And we're talking about Marvel 3. It's of course like your Zero May Cry. That's the Zero Dante Virgil, the Mora Doom Virgil. Those are the 2 easy ones I can think of offhand. But in Dragon Ball, you see more often pairs, more often than like 3-man squads. So what this has led me to believe is pretty much the devs want dominant characters, not dominant teams. And they're super cool with seeing like, let's say like this team against like this team. They're super cool with that. Why? They both have Bardock, but besides Bardock, there are 4 different characters on the screen. That being said, even though they're not really 3 character combinations that people are like, this is the one. There are a couple, of course, and they change from patch to patch. Of course, probably the most famous team to have ever been built in this game is probably this one. But despite that, the thing that is really common in this game are 2 character pairs. So things like this, that. Here's a new one that has been running around recently. This is a low-key one, but most people think this combination is pretty good. This would be another one. Where's my boy SSJ Vegeta? There he is. So there are a bunch of 2 character pairs that exist. So where do you want to start with building your team? So what you want to do is first determine your point. So their point, middle, anchor, right? And there have been a lot of theories about what it takes to build a team in this game, but it hasn't really been visited since, I feel like last final round, Sonic Fox famously said that you need 3-point characters on your team to be successful in the game. But at this point, the game has kind of matured, so I do actually think the roles do matter at this point, and it's pretty easy to tell what character fits in what role. And today we're going to start with the point. Point is probably the easiest to discuss. Okay. So for your point, what your point is basically what you want to do with the team. Your point is going to be who's going to lead your 3-man fight, I guess, your 3 vs 3 fight. So that could be as simple as who's your favorite character, or maybe you want them to function a certain way, because when you have your point out, the main goal of your point is that you want to do what they do, you think what they do is good or cool, and then you want them to be supported. Your point can, in one way, be the least flexible of your characters, as in, like, it's okay if they need assist to function and stuff. That's the whole point of you playing them first. And on top of that, you don't mind if they die. That's probably the most important thing, that if you want a strong team, if you're here because you're like, man, I want to try to build a nice cohesive team, the most important thing you need to think about for your point is it's okay if they die. It's okay if they die. So even though I said technically you could pick any character for your point, what makes a good point would be next. What makes a good point would be next. Because, for example, yeah, you could really pick any character as a point, but would you play SSJ Goku as a point today? Probably not. Would you play SSJ Vegeta as a point today? Probably not. So some characteristics of good things for points to have. One would definitely be some type of movement ability, either point blank or far range. So that would be a character like Enter 21. She excels far range. There's a character like Bardock who can move, weave in and out on command. Frieza, who plays far range. It could also be a character that gets supported heavily by assist to enforce their plan. This would be like your 18s, your Piccolos, Ginyu would be up there. And the final point would be something that kind of like counters the meta. So that would be like Hit or Cooler. All valid. Now, some of these characters are more flexible, so 21, and I'll go into why later. 21 fits multiple roles, and who else did I say fits like Bardock fills multiple roles. But a couple of these characters really are just points. So, for example, Ginyu, or better yet, 18 actually. 18 is probably an example of a character that just should be point. Her assist is good, but you know, when you having her assist on a team takes away for like an offensive assist, that's a more direct neutral assist. So usually people who play her, unless they have very specific reasons, play her point. Piccolo, his assist is really good, but his win condition is also really good. So it's a great idea to play Piccolo with 2 assists that support him. So point is actually the easiest, as I said, the easiest to pick, because you're basically picking a character that you like, that you really want to support. And the best way, if you have multiple characters that kind of feel point-ish, then the best way to pick between them, so let's say between these two, so let's say you want to play 18 Ginyu for some reason, as I actually have. So the best way to pick who should be first on his team is who gets more from the other support. Does 18 get more from Ginyu, from 18 being on point, or does Ginyu get more from being on point with 18 assists? And the answer, as I quickly found, was Ginyu gets a ton for having 18 assists. So I actually ran this at one point. So hopefully that was pretty straightforward. The point discussion is honestly the easiest out of all the characters. You're basically, one more time, just picking a character that you like or has a playstyle you like, close range, full screen, counter style, and then a character that, remember the most important thing, it's okay if they die. That is important. One thing that you need to remember is if your point dies and you're really freaking out, that team isn't very cohesive. It's very top heavy. Example of a top heavy team. Or rather than top heavy, I would say one-sided. Let's say, there's a better way. One-sided, which is fine. You can play a 3-man team, as I call it, a 3-man team where all 3 characters need to be alive to function, but just know that when one character dies, you're going to struggle. So a quick example of a team like this is, in my opinion, is actually this team. This team that's moderately popular. This team is very good, but if one character dies, especially if Trunks dies, I think, then the team gets a lot weaker. So just remember that for the sake of synergy and cohesion, when your point dies, you shouldn't be freaking out. Alright, so if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, like, subscribe, do all that stuff, and we'll continue next week with this video about mids. Hope you enjoyed, thanks for watching, see you next time.